I only want to kind of execute what comes through me. Like the music is always there, it's always flowing, and I'm just kind of trying to channel it through the instrument. And in a literal sense, the instrument conveys or like transforms this eternal message that we call music into sound waves, and it goes through me, but it's not coming out of me. It's kind of how I see it.
Got you. And I'm curious about, you call the album balance. I think it's important, that particular word, right? It's not, great music during the summer, whatever. I think I'm making up. Why? I think a balance means it has like a hidden message, if you will. That feel free to elaborate on that.
I think having balance in your life is just really a great feeling and great thing, and it puts everything in relation. So I'm not saying there can't be very loud parts or very soft parts or very nice or very ugly parts, but to have like a perspective and put everything in relation to each other, this balance of life, basically. I also really enjoy that in music, when music is balanced. It can still be very avant-garde or crazy or whatever, but if it's out of balance, then I just don't enjoy it as much, and it makes me kind of, I don't know, uneasy or like anxious or stressed out or whatever. So that's not what I wanted to achieve. There's like this balance of stability and motion that I'm really interested by. Maybe the stability in the composition, and then the agility or the motion in the improvisation that springs out of it. And this balance can be within the music, but it's also present on like more granular level in every chord that I try to compose. So right now I'm in Estonia and visiting the Albert Center, which is a research facility, a museum kind of thing, dedicated to the Estonian composer Albert. He's still alive, and he's writing classical music that's like kind of choral type minimalist music. And he came up with a composition style. It's called tintinnabuli, which is connected to bells. And I'm just like obsessed with it, because it's a very simple but very strict rule, and it comes up like with a very cohesive sound. It just makes sense to the ear, or at least to me. And then I try to adapt it in some of the songs of the album. For example, in the last song, that's all composed in this kind of style. The basic idea is it's a 3-part voicing. The outer lines are always moving parallel, like in thirds, but with an octave. And the middle line is always jumping on the root of the triad, like the root, the third, and the fifth of the triad. So basically, the middle voice gives like the stability, and the outer voices give the agility. So also within like this very minimal, like zoomed in view of the music, there is this balance of stability and agility. And yeah, I try to get that in the zoomed in version, and within the song, within a solo, and within the whole album, that everything is kind of balancing each other out. And yeah, I just like the feeling that it evokes in the human mind.
Yeah, I will need to check that composer out, because I don't know him, but now I remember it's in the last track. Yeah, I will need to give that a try, because it's very, very interesting, man. You've been busy with touring this year, man. You're going to be touring, well, from February, March until all the way to September, October. So that you're busy, man.
Yeah, now it's getting back up there. I mean, before the pandemic, I was playing maybe around like 100 concerts a year, which I think was great. And then during the first year of the pandemic, maybe played like 10 concerts or something. So obviously it's a huge dip, and now it's catching back up. Yeah, I play with Sarah, the head of the label. I play with my own trio, some big bands, some like now I play like in the hip hop band of my roommate because he asked me to, and that's also fun. Play some piano. I play the occasional wedding or something. So I'm just really happy to be out there and sharing music with an audience, with people. And
are you making now a living out of music? Is it bringing enough to live, survive, and pay your bills or expenses, whatever?
Yeah, I'm fortunate enough to only play music, and that's like my only job.
Yeah,
and it always has been somehow. I never had a real job, to be honest, which is like amazing, obviously.
Yeah, it's not a job, right? If you like it, you're happy.
I'm still surprised it's working out the way it is, but I'm very happy with how it's going.
And for a touring musician, it's difficult to, well, you're playing primarily in Europe. Go to one city to the next, go one city, rest, sleep in a hotel, catch a train or a tour bus. It doesn't. You don't get tired of waking up in one city and then tomorrow you're waking up in another city, and on Monday in another city. It's normal for a touring musician.
It's normal. Obviously, it can be tiring, but it's also a lot of fun. I mean, when did you get to visit like that many cities in that short of time? And you also have a very different purpose in a way, and you meet different people than if I would be a tourist just like traveling all the cities. I would see a lot of I have a very different experience, I think, than if I play a concert where I meet people from the city or in the audience that you can connect with and like get some tips or whatever. And I do try to like my second hobby is like running and cycling. So that's kind of what I do in every new city. I just like go on a little run in the morning and check out all the things, and then obviously a sound check, concert, hotel, train, and repeat. But I feel very fortunate to be able to do it. And then obviously within Europe, it's quite easy to travel. Everything is pretty close. Yeah. But also it's like music really took me places that I wouldn't have been able to go, or maybe wouldn't have gone. Like we went on a big band tour to Nepal with Minua, this band we talked about. We went to China 2 times. We played in South Africa and Uganda, and there's people I'm still in contact with there and still in touch with. I hope I can go back soon when like the whole travel situation is completely back to normal. And yeah, it's really a great way to explore the world through the language of music. That's like this universal thing that's everywhere.
Any possibility of coming to the US to play here in some cities? And
yeah, we were trying. It was already, everything was planned. So with those 4 Germans that studied in New York and I went back, and now we play in Germany together. We were planning a few concerts in the US in cooperation with the Goethe Institute, but then it was right when the pandemic hit, so it didn't work out. But we were supposed to play in New York and Chicago, Washington, and I think somewhere else where they had like a pop-up institute. And
yeah, Chicago is well known for jazz, and Boston too, and then Washington DC. I mean, if depending on the venues that you play, but you guys could do very well here. I mean, just to give you an idea, I live in the border with Washington, D.C., Virginia, and Maryland, and there are hundreds of venues here, big, small, classic. So it's if you plan it well in advance, you can easily, do, I don't know, 10 cities or 20 cities or whatever, because there's especially in Chicago and Boston, it's a big, many beautiful jazz venues, and in Chicago, in Boston, you have the Berklee School of Music, which is very well known, and Juilliard in New York, and so people like jazz. Other people don't like jazz, and so but there are many clubs here that you can play. So hopefully you will come here, and I would like to meet you, and
that would be awesome.
We'll get together for dinner or a beer or whatever, and it'll be good.
That would be lovely.
And if you go back in your life, if you could, open a show for any artist, if you were not the main member, who would the person be? A band or a trio or what?
Probably
anyone in particular?
Went shorter, probably.
Yeah.
Probably sick.
Yeah,
I never saw him live, unfortunately.
Yeah, the guy is he was very, very famous. Same here. I never seen that. You've been now touring in Europe and going to be touring the whole year. Is any particular favorite venue that you like more than another? I mean, you have played so many cities, so many venues. You like one in particular that you wish, man, I wish we could stay 3 days in this city because I like this venue, the sound, the atmosphere, the people. Is it important to you or?
Yeah, the vibe is definitely very important, I think, and I'm quite happy that I found like a club in Berlin that I really like, and I'm starting like a concert series there. So the club is called Donau 115. It's very small, but it's maybe fits like 100 people, but they're all my age or younger. So it's just like a very different energy from the usual basement with a bunch of 50-plus-year-olds, which is also fun. I mean, the crowd is different in every club, but this particular one in Berlin, I just really like the energy of. And so this concert series I started is called Tenor Madness. So it's always 4 tenor saxophones and bass and drums. Wow. It's a very stupid idea. But the first one was great. It was Seamus Blake was playing, Uli Kempendorf, Arnold Sampanis and me. So it's always like kind of featuring a bigger name like Seamus, or hopefully if it works out, Mark Turner, Chris Cheek, Melissa Aldana. But it's all still kind of in the making or in the finding funding for it. But yeah, that's the club I feel most at home at the moment. And also the one in Basel is called Birdseye Jazz Club. Those are just the clubs I played in the most. And then of course there's like the Loft in Cologne or the Unterfahrt in Munich. There's a bunch of clubs that are just really fun. And I never played in Vienna in the Porgy, so that's on my list.
Have you ever played in Latin America at all? No, have you?
No, I've never been, unfortunately. I wish.
And I told you before, I was born in Chile, so
yeah,
people in Chile and in Argentina, Brazil, there's many. It's very different than living in Europe and living in Germany, but people like music there, man. So hopefully one day you will have the opportunity with a good manager to do some gigs in Latin America and
I very much hope so. Yeah.
And do have fun there. Looking back in your career as a musician, what moment are special to you? Any regret or things you would have done differently? Now you look back in your life. You're still very young, but things you would have done differently, or different school, different teacher, or mistake that you make early on, or you don't think about that kind of stuff?
I don't really think about it, because I think like the creative process is not really linear anyway, since it goes up in a spiral, I would say. So you always, if I'm working on a melody, then okay, maybe I understand it this well. A year later, I learned a lot of things, maybe I understand it a bit better, and then just goes up and up and up. So obviously I would have liked, I mean, now looking back on it, when I started studying, I was just like relying on the good technique. I was just, or the things I was just naturally good at, and didn't really go too deep into studying jazz. I didn't understand it that well. So if I started practicing better, or like in a more concentrated way in an early age, that would have obviously been great, but there's nothing I can change about it. So I don't really think about it. And I mean, age is not something I'm particularly worried about. There's always going to be someone younger, someone better, or someone further ahead on the spiral, but it's not a race, so I'm happy to like go my way and obviously work as hard as possible, but there's no rush, if I can say that.
Good, that's good. And now that with the new album that is going to be on the market next week, you guys usually sell merchandise at the end of the gigs. People, want to buy your CD and get an autograph or take a picture with some folks or T-shirt, whatever. You like doing this stuff?
Yeah, that's fun. I mean,
it's very fun. At least for me.
No, it's great. I love it. At the concerts, it's definitely where you sell most of these nowadays, I would say, like physical copies.
Yeah.
And obviously playing concerts is the whole reason why we recorded the CD, or like why we make music, or why I want to play with those guys. And I'm super happy that Arne Huber, who is a great bass player who also lives in my hometown of Freiburg, and Jeff Ballard in particular signed on for this project, because I was just thinking like who would be my like ideal lineup, and then they both said yes. So I'm very happy to have like Jeff in the band, who played with Chick Corea and like everybody that you can think of.
Yeah.
Ray Charles, big band. Like how can you measure that? Like this experience
absolutely
is priceless, and to be able to hear him like play my music and like how he interprets what I came up with it's a blessing.
Now you've been touring and in different cities all over the world. Are any of those the sessions are being recorded? Any plan to release like a live album, like a double CD and CD 1, CD 2 out of different cities, or the best track, or you don't record the stuff every night?
I don't record it every night. We did one live album with this band Trillmann, the German connection from New York, like this band, and that's cool to have this energy. I think it's two different mindsets in a way. So on a live album, like time flows different, I think, like in a concert setting than it does in the studio. If you listen to a song on a record, it's a different kind of mindset that you're in, I think, as a listener, and then also as a performer. So I guess usually live versions are just way longer. And because in the moment you just want to maybe share more things, or like you're having fun on stage, and you're in a dialogue with the audience.
Yeah,
they want something, or you think they want something, and you go in a certain direction. But if you haven't been in the audience of the evening, you don't really know what that was. So I think there's great live albums, especially in jazz. But for me, it hasn't been like the biggest, like the next goal I want to do. But yeah, obviously that would be great to have like also different versions of the songs from different nights. And if I get the chance to, I would love it.
I suppose that if you know that you're recording the next 3 days, whatever, this city, that city, you're very conscious about this stuff. So there is less freedom and less free jazz, if you will, right? As opposed to not knowing the recording. So a track that may last, 4 minutes, end up lasting 6 or 5.5, whatever, because you like the vibe for the audience, right? But if you're very conscious that stuff is recorded, maybe you wouldn't do that, right? So it's in a way it's good that it's been recorded, but without telling you that it's going to be recorded, so you guys can play freely, right?
Exactly. That would be very interesting to just document like how it works on stage. But like with some bands, we always tell ourselves before the gig, like, it's play as few notes as possible, and it never works. Like
never works. Of course not.
In the live setting, it's just so hard. And I think in the studio, it's easier to have that in mind.
Yeah. Well, and then, if you're the owner of a club, you're happy because people are buying beer or food, whatever. So it's good for the owner to have another extra hour to sell more stuff, right? And for you guys, you get paid the same amount where you play 2 hours or 3 hours, right? So you get tired.
That's true.
For the owner. And I have only 2 more questions. So what do you do? What do you do for fun that is not music related? Nothing to do with music.
So I do a lot of cycling, which is a very nerdy sport with a friend of mine.
Yeah.
We cycled across the Alps to Italy and once across Germany. And now we're going to go on a big trip to Japan to cycle from Hiroshima to Tokyo. It's going to take a few weeks.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's something very different. It's more like, it feels like meditation because it's such a linear movement and you're just moving through the landscape in a relatively slow pace. It's a great way to explore, I think, different countries and to exercise and get into the flow of things and just shut down your mind for a little bit. And I guess sports is my main hobby.
Have you ever played in Japan? Do you like it?
I've never been, but we're planning a tour for
people in Japan really in Tokyo really like jazz, man. So.
Yeah. I just wrote some emails. Let's see if we can make it happen.
Great, man.
Watching some sports. My soccer team is doing really good now, so I go to the stadium next week.
Which one?
It's called Freiburg, SC Freiburg. It's pretty small. They're usually terrible, but this season they're really good. So everybody's really excited.
Yeah, in the Bundesliga,
exactly.
It's difficult because the Bayern Munich, they're so rich that it's hard to compete. I mean, it's very unfair, right?
It's hard, but now they're in 4th place or 5th place at the moment, which is super rare. Usually
very impressive, right? Yeah,
15th or something.
A federation should give the same amount of money to everybody. So it would, but if you are a rich club like Manchester United or Real Madrid or Bayern Munich, it's very unfair because they will win. Look at the last 20 years, Bayern Munich, Bayern.
It's insane. I mean, it's all about the money, and then who has the most money usually wins.
Yeah, because they get the best play.
If you root for a small club, it's a different kind of enjoyment.
Course. Really, I completely agree. And so the last question, feel free to elaborate where the listener can get a hold of your music and your website. Feel free to mention your Facebook, Instagram. Feel free to give me the name.
So the label is called Clap Your Hands.
Yeah.
And they came up with a really nice approach. So they're not releasing the full album on Spotify and Apple Music and Bandcamp, but only 2 songs for now, maybe a 3rd one.
Yeah.
So if you want to listen to the whole album, you basically have to go to them and you can kind of become a member of the label and get access to behind the scenes footage, to interviews, to videos where I explain even more about the compositions and about the band. Jeff and Anna are also talking a bit about it. And there's going to be videos on YouTube that coming out on Wednesday, and then the whole release on Friday. But firstly, I would go to clapyourhands.ch in Switzerland. Or if you want to go to my homepage, that's fabianwillmann.com. So FABIANWILLMANN.com. Of course, you can also find me on Instagram, same name, Fabian Willmann, or hit me up on Facebook.
Perfect, man. Fabian, was very nice talking to you, man. Fabian, it's like in Spanish.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of and it was very nice talking to you. Good luck with the new album. Hopefully, you can sell a lot and keep on touring and keep me posted if you're coming to the United States, man. Because I would love to meet the band, and we're gonna go get a bite to eat or get a beer or whatever. Because I would love to see you playing live, man.
Sounds amazing. Thanks, Claudio, for having me.
No problem. Thank you, man. Good luck to you, man.
For the questions. If you're ever in Berlin, let me know.
Yeah, I'm going to be there in July. I know I'm going to be there for at
Let's
least
do it.
4 days in Berlin because there is a lot of people that I would like to interview. There, you know, as you know, Berlin is the electronic music city of the world. You know, so
It's an electronic music hub for sure. Yeah, great. I love to see you and get a beer.
Well, then take it easy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, man. Good luck to you, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.